right, so we are back with part 5. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be um, working on downloading that spreadsheet straight from Google so that we don't have to create the CSV anymore. We can just use it in a fashion that is usable for our end user. And the way to do that is basically the same as get this barcode, but instead we're going to be using a little known thing inside Google. So define download CSV. Okay, and the CSV in this case it's really not going to have that a path or anything. So we're going to grab our Google spreadsheets. Okay, we're going to grab our URL. URL equals this. Okay, oops, sorry, it's got to be in quotes. Okay. Now, here's what people may or may not know. You can do export at the end of this and then say format equals CSV. Okay, and by doing that, Google will actually give you the CSV version of that document. Now, the reason we have to have it set so that anyone with the link can download it is we don't have a way to authenticate going through here. There is a way, but it's very complicated, and we just don't need it for this. Anyway, so now we're going to use the good old request module again. Okay, r equals requests dot get URL. Okay, timeout equals 5. And wait a minute, this sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Isn't it exactly what we have down here? So here's a question. Can we simply refactor? And the answer to this is yes. This is rhetorical. Can we refactor so that we're not using our code twice? We're not typing it twice. And that's what we want to do. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to make a new function. Okay. Define download data. Okay. And yes, so download data, and we want to send a URL, right? We're going to now say request equals, that. And the good news is most of this we're going to be able to copy and paste from here all the way to here. So let's cut all this out, actually, and replace it here. Okay, and then URL we're going to change to whatever gets passed, right? So basically, download data will just take a URL. It will then put it there. It will then give you content back, right? So that we don't have to do this. Now, we do need to change this. Unable to get data due to error, blah, blah, blah. Now, and successfully downloaded. You know what? Let's add another function or another argument to the end of this. And the URL, of course, we need to tell it's a string. Here we're going to say description. String. Whoops. Boy, you can tell I get worse throughout the end of the day here. So this description is going to go here. Okay, successfully downloaded whatever this thing is. All right, and this way our printing to our page or our printing from our program will look a little better. Okay, now here you got to be careful because we don't have any keys, and because we have no keys, we have to make sure that it's in the right order. So we're going to say the description here and there. Now we could, and we should, I should say, now because we have multiple keys or multiple uses in there, we're going to simply do that. And let's change this to error so that it just is a little better for the next person or yourself later on. Okay, so now we're able to successfully downloaded whatever the description is. And so let's change this get barcode. Let's fix this again. Okay, and we're going to return this data download. and the URL is going to be the full URL, and in this case we're going to say barcode, right? So we're simply going to be telling this up here, successfully downloaded barcode, right? Or unable to get barcode. So that's a good way for you to reuse error messages over and over by simply throwing it into a function, and you don't have to worry about it as much. So, and this function has now gotten smaller, and most importantly, we're not repeating ourselves. Again, with it's what I like to call the dry approach. Other people have used that term as well. Do not repeat yourself. If you are ever typing the same code twice, throw it in a function. It will save you time and money later on, I promise. So download data is now something we can use from the get barcode, right? But now we can also use it for this download CSV. So now we can just simply say download data, right? The URL, and then CSV file. We can even say Google CSV file, right? And then we're going to return that. So here's the cool thing. This is going to take this R content and return the return. So we're not having to save it in between as a variable, which does save a tiniest bit of memory, but it is good practice. If you want, when you're first starting out, you can assign this to a variable and then say return that variable, but after you start understanding how data flows through your program, you can start removing those. So we're simply returning the return of this. And it sounds like a go to line kind of situation, but it's not, okay? So now we have greatly expanded the download data can be used for lots of things. And what you may notice is that I'm kind of putting these in an order. So like these three here, we could throw these into a helper file later on, and then move that module later on. And you know what? We're probably going to end up doing that. We're going to expand this for a good bit. We're going to make this a full-on, really pretty program, because while it does work now, I think that it'd be nice to show how programs over time get more and more refined. Okay, because it's easy for you to refine something a little bit at a time instead of making this perfect product straight out the gate. Most products don't have someone who sits and goes, hey, I've thought of everything, right? Now, most programs, when you're starting to build a big program, you're going to want to scope it out. You're going to want to actually write down things on paper and build flowcharts and all of those things when it's a large program. Okay, and later on, I'll be building larger programs because I've got some more things I want to build. And, you guys can follow along those journeys as well. But anyway, so enough gib-gab. Let's go back to this. So we've downloaded our CSV, right? And we probably need to make sure that we need to save it to a file, don't we? So let's go here. Okay, and this student file here, very beginning, so we create our cache directory, and let's do this. Let us say our CSV path equals os.path.join, again, that cache directory. Okay, and now we're going to create a file name on the fly, and we're going to say studentdata.csv, right? So we're going to put this CSV data file into our cache. All right. Not that we're going to actually never download it. We're always going to download it. We always want fresh copy of data, right? We think anyway. But it's possible maybe we don't. Maybe the person who's running this program messed up and closed the web browser, and they just want to run it again real quick. So that's why we're going to put it back on the cache, because we're eventually going to add in arguments to this program. We're going to build one-off little scripts. We're going to do, this is not a small thing. Okay, we're going to make this a very polished program. And yes, it's going to be another 2-3 hours of code, but in the end, your code's going to be better and better. Okay, and your program's going to be more refined. All right, so now we've created that file. Now, here's an interesting theory, right? What if this save file doesn't work? save file CSV path. Oh, wait, we got to tell the data. Sorry. We got to download it, don't we? Yeah, we're not actually downloading it yet. Download the CSV, right? And that's going to return the return of the data, right? So we need to have our CSV data equals that. Okay, put a space there so that it's more readable. Okay, so the CSV data is being saved, and the file name is the CSV path, right? So that's saving that. Okay, so this is going to copy that, put it here. Okay, get rid of this and this. So now this open file we need to change to use that CSV path that we just created up here, right? So if you notice, we're starting to remove a lot of hard-coded things and starting to use more and more variables. This way our program is better in the long run, because we can change this file name in one spot and the whole program will just adapt. Okay, you're not having to save it over and over and change it over and over. Again, do not repeat yourself, right? So let's run this and make sure that it works and that we do have the student data should show up here in this cache, and the program should still work, hopefully. So there we go. We successfully downloaded our data, right? And we see here, now we noticed that it didn't say anything about downloading our barcodes because the barcode is already in the cache. Okay, so we need to probably tell the user that we're utilizing cache. Okay, so we could say down here, we can say else. Okay, and then we can say print, and then using cached barcode for district ID, and then we'll put in that district ID format, the ID number there. Okay, so now when we run it, it's going to say it downloaded the CSV and it's using the cache barcode for those district IDs. Okay, so we can get rid of this now. We can delete that. Okay, and now you see that we've got something that's starting to look really nice. It's starting to actually like have a nice little interface. It's telling us what's going on. Okay, and so now we're getting that barcode, or the barcode data, I should say, the student data from Google, right? We're downloading that. We're doing our barcode downloading. We're also utilizing cache. So this thing is getting more and more complex, right? And also by putting it in this cache directory here, we're better. So now what we're going to do is we're going to stop where we're at. This is going to be a short video. My wife just told me that she made me a grilled cheese, and I need to stop so that I can go eat that grilled cheese, because I really need the grilled cheese. And then we will come back. We will finish rounding out this program a little bit more. Things to come, we're going to be adding arguments to this, or maybe not. Maybe we'll move that on to something else. Logging, probably something we should do later, honestly. And maybe we'll make our own module for it so that it's prettier. Yeah, we'll do the module thing. That's something that we can move forward with. And generating an HTML file, we do need to kind of do that. We've been talking about it the whole time, but we've never actually laid any code for it. So we can start doing that as well. So those will be things that you can look forward to in the next 2 to 3 episodes. We'll definitely be doing this HTML file probably tomorrow, the next one. So the next one you see, we'll be doing this HTML file. We'll get that going, and we'll do the opening of the browser to see it. And then, yes, that's what we'll do. So thank you for watching. Sorry it's a shorter one, but it's probably better for everyone. All right, thanks. Bye.